So what exactly do I mean when I say new player's perspective? Well, literally all videos about this game that I have watched, trust me, I've watched a lot in a couple of months, are from people who have been playing the game since the good old times of Overwatch 1. And while they certainly have more experience with the game than that one guy who tried out the game because it became free do, I feel like they can't really understand our new player's view on Overwatch. But before that, let's talk about my experience with multiplayer shooter games. Well, Overwatch is definitely one of the most fun multiplayer shooter games that I have ever played. I'm a person who plays games just to have fun and take a break from my usual activities. And I haven't played that many multiplayer shooter games, but I have played enough to realize that I'm definitely not into the realistic side of them. There's just something that feels bland and I can't really explain it. To be clear, by realistic, I mean anything from CSGO to Escape from Tarkov. The latter of which I haven't tried because I didn't want to spend so much money on a game which I most likely wouldn't enjoy that much. The only one that I really enjoyed for quite a long time is my favorite guilty pleasure game, Rainbow Six Siege. Although, that game might just deserve a video of its own. For other games that I've played, which could be compared to Overwatch on the fun scale, the only few that I can think of are Team Fortress 2, which most of my friends don't really like, partially because of the bots, Fortnite, which we do occasionally play, but it gets boring after some time, and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, which is probably my favorite multiplayer shooter game ever, but my friends don't even have it because convincing them to buy a game that has like 69 people online is a bit difficult. Besides, the only thing that's keeping that game alive is a random YouTuber suggestion of the day, Wolfie Plays, also known as my favorite YouTuber to watch, literally, ever. And literally every day, when this man uploads, instantly becomes better for me. Definitely go check him out. And maybe subscribe. Hopefully subscribe. You better subscribe. Back to the video. There's also Valorant, which I basically haven't played, but I've heard that it's kind of a mix between Overwatch and Counter-Strike. You can tell me whether I should check that out or not. So after everything said, what was my first impression after playing Overwatch for the first time in 2022? Well, it sure was one of the most fun experiences I've had with an FPS shooter. There are genuinely very few games that have as much charm and personality as this one. All of the characters are so fun and entertaining in their own ways. There are dozens of interactions which show off all of their personalities and even give some lore details. And this is the part where you learn that there's actually lore in this game, and even books and comics, which I may or may not have read in a few days almost without breaks. And while all of that is already great, there's the actual gameplay, which also feels very unique for each character and playstyle. That's not to say it doesn't have any flaws, of course it does, but I don't feel like they stand in the way of me enjoying the game. With the amount of different characters, maps, and abilities this game has, there's always something fun and wacky you can do to entertain yourself. For example, you can run around as a dwarf smacking your enemies with a hammer, or jump around the map like a Spider-Man as a huge ball, or make a giant balloon cow dance by shooting it with a shotgun, 2 shotguns, or become invisible and troll your friends in custom lobbies. Speaking of which, somehow, some of the most fun I've had with this game was in custom games with just me and my friends, where we would goof around and do fun stuff. We've had so much fun there that I wouldn't be surprised if about a fifth or even fourth of my playtime is from those games. And with everything mentioned before, some people actually called this game unplayable when it launched. And I understand that there was a lot of problems with Overwatch 2's launch, but most of them honestly didn't take away from the overall experience. Because after all, what matters most is how much fun people can have with the game. And oh boy, did I have fun while playing Overwatch then. And oh boy, do I still have fun while playing Overwatch. And that's not even to mention that many of the launch problems have gotten fixed, or are in the process of that. Example, the problem with earning your own cosmetics that so many people complain about, which recently got fixed. Or at least became closer to getting fully fixed. Now that I've said that, let's get into the conclusion. What I'm trying to say throughout this whole video is that no matter how good you OG people remember Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2 is still one of the most fun, unique, and charming multiplayer shooter games at the moment. And not just shooter games. I feel like it's actually one of the most fun multiplayer games overall. And we should honestly appreciate that. It's really difficult to find games that would be even close to being as fun as Overwatch 2. That's for multiplayer games, of course. The game has problems, and we should try our best to point them out to Blizzard. Just please, let's not be completely negative towards the game. And this is about all I had to say about this game. On a completely unrelated note,